play. Ladies and gentlemen, C9 versus Immortals. I'm excited to finally bring you some of that action. And it's Immortals starting off here on the defense of Cloud9, attacking. And oh, they're already attacking as they push in on this B site. Genghsta with one, Tenz will trade it. Vice opens up the back site, and now they will try to get that spike down while the rest of Immortals are going to try to get back towards the B site.
Sageless right now for Immortals on this hold as they're actually trying to retake at this point. The hold is happening from C9. Low HP is going to be the Jet because they actually already have Mitch down. And they're all dropping one by one here for the Immortals, leaving only one player remaining. As I said, we wanted to keep an eye on Dicey at this point, but on a 2 versus 1, very hard to do to try to retake that spike. So a nice push, aggressive to start things off Shinobi's Owl Drone to just make it into the B site and get that easy plant. Quote-unquote easy, because they still had to go through a few trades, but still having 3 guys alive inside the site with a crossfire setup, it's good enough there to try to win the round.
Oh, Cloud9, you know, for them, they start on the attack. Immortals, obviously, they got to pick side selection, and for them, what that means is that they get to defend first, the more favorable side. The pistols now going to start to come through for Immortals. We'll see what they can get done. Sometimes these sheriffs, they can be quite hefty in really delivering some of that econ damage. And obviously, Cloud9 buying up to some Bulldogs, some Spectres, looking to get some of their own damage done. You know, early looks towards winning the pistol is good for Cloud9 because if they can have an even or close to even attacker side, they move on to the next and feel really good about themselves. Tenz gonna find a couple as he pushes forward. As Immortals pushes forward on the catwalk, and they'll be punished by the aggression. Relyks was in a little bit of a tough spot, and Tenz was able to provide some distant firepower.
Enemy down.
Now just down to the 2v3. 2v2 as Jcstani peaks with the Sheriff. And now he's going to get the upgrade. Spike going down, and Immortals in a very favorable 2v2.
Yeah, but it's 3 kills now with an eco that they have for the Immortals. They picked up a Spectre, and that's one thing too, right? Now you have Jcstani playing as the IGL, now as a Smoker player, as a Brimstone or an Omen. You don't have to focus too much on that minimap, the Cyber Cages. You can focus a little bit more on frag, and we're seeing it. So that's 1 and 2, but Tenz also seems to be feeling a lot better now. That's 4 kills in this second round, and I think it was 3 in the first as well, so that's 7 kills. He's the opposite of 007 right now. Not a James Bond. 7-0-0, no assist because he's just taking all the kills for himself. And that means that if he's going to be on top form and top shape, Immortals cannot bank on the results of what T9 did yesterday.
If Tenz is awake today, I am very concerned for Immortals because they're going to need an answer. And while Dicey, a new addition, has still a lot to prove when it comes to his ability to play the Jet. Asuna is really the star player here for the team, and he's on the Phoenix. While still can get the job done, it's just a lot more difficult when you have a Jet flying around and you don't really know what to do and how to deal with it. So Immortals now on the gun round, of course. We'll see what they end up developing here. So far, it's a little bit of a standard setup, but a lot more resources spent towards this A side. Relyks, pay attention to him round after round, Vansilli. He's consistently pushing up through the middle here. He's been tagged by the camera, but Immortals, how will they counter this? Will they play Fruit Market? Will they play towards the defender spawn? Because if he is allowed to just push forward like this, their defense will be split and they won't have time to react to Cloud9's pushes.
Yeah, this is a very, very similar game style as what we see from Hayes with TSM, right? Always pushing towards his mid side as Omen. He can put the dark covers, play through them as well. He has the paranoia, so he can kind of play those 1 versus 1 because you don't really have usually that many crossfires on this mid side, with the exception of maybe Spawn. But unless if Spawn rotates back and forth between Fountain and B, that means there's technically only 1 defender playing towards that market side. So you can really isolate 1 versus 1 and really maximize the lurk role by holding that middle side. And look at that, just by lurking around that area, this gives a chance for everybody from Cloud9 to group up with the exception of 1 player being the Cypher holding behind as Vice, and Koler still gets the first kill though. The trade still comes across towards his A side, so we're keeping him busy, but the execution is still happening inside his B site. And Genghsta gets the headshot onto Tenz before he gets a frag before, and Vice somehow with a classic drops Jcstani and Mitch up and down Dicey. So Genghsta is already going to be the last man standing on a 3 versus 1. He has to focus, but move very quickly towards his B side because that flank is coming very soon now from Vice. You see it, both of them inside the garage. That's 1, and Vice gets the backstab from the market, and they add up to 3 into the tally for Cloud9.
Can I just quickly say for 1 second before I break down some analysis that pip was beautiful. Having a look inside the back of sight, seeing Shinobi fall, and then Mitch, beautiful stuff. Really have to shout out to production for putting that together. But what the repercussions now face for Immortals, they're in a little bit of a tight spot. Down to the pistols. On the favorable side, Vansilli, here, you know, for the defense, they got to pick side selection. They picked defense first in anticipation that A, they win the pistol, that B, they win the round that follows, and that 3, they're able to stave off the gun round or at least make it expensive. It was down to 2 there for Cloud9, and so they can still continue to save some of these weapons that they've now either A, had to purchase, or somebody dropped for them, or whatever the case may be. Like, this is not looking good here to start off for Immortals. They really need to get some rounds early. In Cloud9, they're looking at round number 4 with these favorable weapon advantages that they've created.
At least now for Immortals, they have a stack inside this A side. The pistols have worked on that second round. They want to see if they could do it again. And as they're grouping up slowly towards the entrance, actually there's only one. I thought maybe the Phoenix was going to move forward with Asuna as well, so that Asuna could throw the curveball and they could try to peek across. But they're just playing for the stack and the crossfire. Instead, the bait as well from maybe a Heaven player from a recon arrow. But it's going to be now Cloud9 working back towards his B side, where Koler is going to be by himself. Trapwire now closed. He's going to have to call that audible for his team. Camera's going to come up too. And as he looks towards the wrong corner, Koler punishes him for that. But now they're pushing through. He's paranoid. Still makes it inside the site with 89 HP. Punish Fury to come out too, but it's not going to connect anybody yet. Vice though pushes forward, gets the kill on Koler. That means they clear out spawn side. Relyks still lurking towards the mid. Now through the smoke, Tenz headshot onto Genghsta as they're taking coverage inside the site. Dicey with a drive-by from the Sheriff too. So yeah, they were able to get 2 kills, but that's going to be it for now. As Dicey, only about 22, well, now not only, I know he's at 22 HP, has managed to pick up the Spectre, but he's going to look to save this pretty much.
You're trying to be a little bit careful with your caster predictions. You're not trying to predict anything
I'm
that may throw you.
I'm done predicting. I had to say who's going to win the series, but that's going to be my extent.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's where I stop. That's where I draw the line. Okay, so for Dicey, where he's going to draw the line is probably some exit frags. You know, there's 3 members of Cloud9 and Vansilli. I'm afraid to say that they are in tip-top shape, at least for the rounds that we've seen so far. They are not skipping a beat. Now, on the opposite side, Koler, while with the Sheriff, was able to at least keep it competitive for as long as he could. You know, he did his job. He set up the utility, and then, not to mention, he found a pick with the Sheriff, backed off, tried to give his team space to come back, but like I said before, pay attention to Relyks. He was there, up above Pizza, just catching those rotations. Even if all 5 members from Immortals were able to come over towards that B site, they may have been able to bring it down to a 1v1 or a 2v2. Like, I understand that they didn't really have the economic advantage, but they were finding picks in rotation. It's just Relyks and Tenz were helping stop that rotation, stop Immortals from getting too comfy, and as a result, that's the round there for Cloud9. So Immortals, guns online. Let's see how they stop Cloud9 this time.
Big test right now, especially now that they have the operator out. They're playing off the back of this Sova drone from Genghsta to start things off, but through the smoke, he still gets the headshot onto Jcstani, and that is courtesy of Tenz. So now a run it back to get some information. Asuna still gets the trade-off onto Vice, but I think that's all he saw, at least for the second player that shot him down. And a shock dart that's going to come down too, and it's going to put Asuna back and retreat back towards the A side. But they are cheating over the defense towards A2. But you still have Dicey that's going to watch towards long B. So far, from the way that C9's been working this, they always work this A side slowly and then manage to make it towards B in the last seconds of the round. Let's see if this is going to be the same thing, unless they want to go for a full execution. But the only thing right now to try to take the A side for Cloud9 is if the Omen goes into the shadows. Aside from that, doesn't really happen. But you can see him set up probably for a paranoia towards the garden. This shock dart or this recon arrow is probably going to find some people too. And the execution is not gonna happen. Well, actually it does. They're coming through for a couple of trades. And Relyks still goes for the full teleport and still manages to get the kill onto Genghsta. Koler 1, 2, and 3 through the doorway. And that is gonna be the first round on the scoreboard for the Immortals.
Okay, let me just quickly say, how does that happen? Okay, let's put Koler aside for one quick second. Relyks teleports up into heaven, and nobody looks. He, like, look, pay attention to the minion. He finds 2 up there, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to smoke them off as they're trying to rotate. But Koler's like, yeah, psych, that's the wrong number. Finds 3 on the round as they're caught with their pants down. Didn't even know that Koler was going to be there in the first place. So great positioning there for IMT to really get around underneath their belt that they desperately needed. Now for Cloud9, the scoreboard will probably give us information, and some of these weapons probably tell us that they're still on the full buy. But that op out of play, that's got to feel rough. Dicey now going to sit this one out, and now it's the man advantage for Cloud9. But Mitch, he might find himself in a little bit of a sticky situation. Genghsta, will he find that third and last final Hunter's Fury? No, he will not. And now Cloud9 still 5 strong and 1 point away from the resurrection. Could make this a 6v4.
That was such a great bait there from Mitch around the corner, and even from, I think that was Shinobi towards that back, right? He lets himself get tagged by the Owl Drone, and Dicey tries to go for the aggressive peek, but as he does so and focuses on where Shinobi was tagged behind the shack, Mitch goes for the wide swing and gets the pick. So an early 5-on-4 that kind of catches Dicey off guard. They're going to think twice before they want to push outside that area again. On top of that, Genghsta is down to about 40 HP, so forced to fall back inside the site. At least a good recon guard is going to spot 4 of them coming through. But the orbital strike is not going to do any kills. They're going to try to push through this though, but just around the corner it's going to be Relyks. He misses a close range shot with the operator. Second close range miss, and Koler capitalizes on that. After they do the neural theft, it's going to be close range. Tenz missed that shot and falls back into the A site at least, and that is going to be an A site open for 4 players of Cloud9 to move in and get the spike plant.
Yeah, nice wall there too for Mitch. Tenz was like, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here. Oh, but he misses the shot. The classic is what it boils down to, and Tenz sends him down with the headshot. Oh, Tenz! Where? How? Why? VAC would like a word with you. Through the wall is how he dies. Genghsta now, last member standing, and just as he swings, he will fall. Cloud9 here with a 5-1 start to Ascent.
The good thing though is that Immortals, the one time that they got that first real gun round, they finally got a round in. They had that confidence, but as they get immediately punished right after by Cloud9, they're going to have to hesitate here, because now they're on a Nico on the next gun round. They're going to have 2,400, so they're not going to have enough money really unless we go for Dicey, maybe with actually he could go for Big Shield and Operator again. But the thing is, I don't think they're going to go as aggressive to look towards this B side anymore with that op. So with Mitch now, good news for Cloud9, taking a lead by 5 on a side that's going to be disadvantaged usually. A self-boost to look back in, and Mitch gets the first kill inside the site. So Genghsta's going to fall. We're clearing inside that site, but we still have Koler hiding inside the shack. He does manage to get the kill at least onto 10, so that's 1 player down, but it's quickly traded off by Relyks. That means now we move inside the site, we get a res on top of that, just to make sure the economy still stays strong for Cloud9, despite them not needing it, because they're so rich already from all the rounds that they won. But the spike's going to come through. It's going to get planted. The crossfire right now as we have exit attempts for the Immortals. That is one onto Vice. Off shot miss towards the main.
Wow.
Jcstani adds onto a second one. A third one just found at the entrance of B. A gun that's picked up, but Shinobi is trying to keep them from saving it. But Jcstani says no. That's a third kill with the Ghost. The fourth one to finally get that frag on to Jcstani. And that is going to be Relyks to add one more. 6-1 for Cloud9.
I love that post-plant setup there from Cloud9 as well. They had Vice all the way on the opposite side of the map, and then he started to pull back once things started to get a little bit more crazier. Cloud9, they had control of that B site, and then he kind of got caught in the middle there, but guess who was there to support him? It was Tenz. Unfortunately, they both fall, and some great play coming out from Immortals, clicking on some heads, but it is, of course, going to be Relyks that'll seal the deal on their fate, but still make it expensive, and at the end of the day, that's all you can really do in rounds that you are almost guaranteed to lose, like statistically guaranteed to lose. So smokes go down, one ways are set up, and for Immortals, they're playing a little bit more passively this time around. Not really making any aggressive peaks. They've got weapons now, and so they are afraid that they will lose them. So they'll play reactive and see where Cloud9 end up setting up.
From our point of view, though, it seems as though Cloud9 is looking for some more map control. Shinobi with the Owl Drone to look back into B. Mitch looking for some sort of entry before Sees nothing there from an aggressive push from the Immortals, so he's just going to get the orb and fall back. Even the Spike is doing the same thing. So eventually, we're going to see them work towards this A side because they have a Paranoia, and they also have a Hunter's Fury from a Recon Dart that can put a lot of damage here towards this A side take. So there to start things off is that Hunter Fury towards the back of the site. Dicey goes with the Blaze Storm and gets 1 kill. Asuna to help him out to get 2 kills of his own. But we now have finally the A side slowly starting to crumble rather as Jcstani gets the dink onto Mitch, but no kills unfortunately. Mitch self-heal as he's going to move back inside the site, but Koler pushes through the smoke with his teammate at the same time. They manage to get the kill onto Mitch and the second on the board now for the Immortals.
There's too many angles to check there for Mitch, but at this point, in my opinion, Vansilli, the damage has already been done. Even if Immortals bring this 6-6, they're going to be moving on to the unfavorable side, and they've got a lot to prove because earlier today against TSM, on their attack, they were only able to get 3 rounds. That was 9 juicy rounds for TSM, and then from there, once things swapped over, TSM won the pistol, and at that point, Immortals, they only had very few rounds to gamble on the gun rounds, right? So for Immortals, they desperately need every round they can get, and for Cloud9, they just need to continue business as usual because so far, Ascent's working their way. However, Vansilli, once we move on to that second map, Immortals can really make a comeback on Bind.
Definitely. But at least now at this point for the Immortals, let's try to get these last few rounds here. They do have a couple of actually offensive ultimates that could really help towards this defense. That's a run it back and the old orbital strike. We're going to see if they can try to make it 6-6 in this first half. But we did hear the Omen shadow stepping back towards this mid side, but he's still lurking for it. So that's still Relyks. That's going to be Koler now putting up that cage, trying to run that clock down. And the execution and the action is going to happen towards a short A here, Simo.
You know, I like this positioning now from Immortals, having Koler play a little bit more towards the middle to see if he can stop Relyks. And at the end of the day, we've seen some great performances out of Koler. Like, I think that he may be one of the players on Immortals that's a little bit slept on. You know, he provides a lot of firepower, even if he's just now on the Cypher. And so to put him up against Relyks, I think would be a great idea. But there's 3 there instead of just 1. And as he pushes forward, the swing unfortunately goes sour. Shinobi will send him to the graveyard. But it's a beautiful orbital strike that'll at least separate the team and allow Genghsta to pick off Relyks as he's divided from the rest of his roster. Jcstani now has to help defend this push that's going to be coming in from Cloud9 towards this B side. And Genghsta and Jcstani, they're ready. One's going to go down. Genghsta with the refrag cannot find the second. And now Spike going down. Very few seconds left. It's the 2v3. Let's see how Immortals deal with this retake.
That's a tough part there. When you're trying to hold an angle with players rushing through and you have a Vandal, it's so much more difficult to try to get a spray and multi-kills with that. Wielding a Phantom for these mid-range, close-range battles with the Phantom could definitely help a little bit more. Genghsta getting 1 was not enough at this point. But can the last 2 players, Dicey, well, it seems as though he's falling back slowly, and Asuna doing the same thing. They're looking to probably save their weapon into the next round. On a 3 versus 2, they don't want to risk it. Looking for the entries now to get the first one to peek out, and that is going to be Tenz to fall. And as you can still hear this clock ticking down, definitely at this point now, it is over for them for this round. It is going to be a 7th coming through for Cloud9. And again, it was like a great position that they had, right? They had the crossfire set up towards this B side at the staircase and at the defender spawn. But again, just because of the first bait jump from Mitch, it's kind of like a Counter-Strike thing. Had the first guy come out, jump, bait the shots, and then the second one swings in for the kill. It's a great way to play it for the entries where you don't have utilities. So they use the same type of strategy into Valorant, and it works off really well for the first kill. Just the second one should have been maybe a 2 spray from Genghsta.
Now looking at the round here for Immortals, the buy is less than desirable, but still at least something comes through. There's assault rifles across the board, whether or not you consider the Bulldog an assault rifle. It looks like it kind of, the Bulldog feels like it had a baby with an SMG and assault rifle just kind of mashed up here together. But still, Immortals, they may be able to upgrade if they pick up a weapon off the floor, and so far that hasn't really been the case. Shock Dart comes through. I think it tags 1 just a little bit, and now as Asuna peeks, the shot here from Tenz will deny that push forward, and as the smokes go down, is just used to dissuade Cloud9 from pushing any further. On the opposite side, however, Mitch is holding on towards this B side. Cloud9 may be looking to sell a fake towards A, and already Koler looking to transfer over. We'll see how Cloud9 try to debate them here and go towards this B site.
Yeah, and it all comes down once again to having to try to take that mid control back from Immortals, which I haven't seen yet, right? They're giving a lot of free space for Relyks towards this mid side at the pizza, and they just try to play the retake or turtle up inside the site where they're not able to hold the kills. Unfortunately, this off shot missed from such a tight angle. It's not easy to hold, and Dicey unfortunately misses that one, and he's going to fall. And I see a lot of people in the chat right now saying, haha, Dicey's not getting enough kills, but the thing is, you guys have to think about Cloud9 on how they were able to manage the economy so far against Immortals. Blade starting to come out from Tenz, looking for a couple of kills, misses that shot unfortunately on it to Asuna at the entrance of the spawn. Hot hands trying to force him out of his corner, and he's going to be able to make it out safely rather, and it's going to be a 5 versus 3, very difficult to take.
Yeah, but so far Tenz has really just been doing his job being a nuisance. Now going to back away because now as Jcstani wants to peek, it's just Tenz running away. But you still got two members that are trying to work their way into this B site. Maybe they're forcing Cloud9 into a very uncomfortable position. They've got to push into them. They're not looking to defuse the spike at all. Jcstani, he's going to start to push in. Wow. They find two, just down to a couple more. It's Mitch, he swings, but Asuna will seal the deal. But do they have enough time? Halfway,
Definitely.
Is Asuna starting to get real close. They had 2 seconds remaining. A great push in there from Immortals. I thought there for certain that they were just trying to get Cloud9 to push forward. And for a while, I think they were. But eventually, Immortals like, okay, we got to go in or we give up this round for free. We all die, and neither of us want that. So a great push in. They find the round, a very much needed round. Now Cloud9, they themselves are down to an eco.
It was all Jcstani at that point, because you see how everybody else was holding towards that defender spawn. Jcstani knew that it was an up battle between a Phantom that he had against Tenz of all players. So the way that he jiggle peeks, the way that he's always pushing Tenz back towards the back of the spawn at B, that gives a chance for the rest of the guys to just focus inside the entrance by the staircase from the defender spawn for the Immortals. And on top of that, Jcstani gets the kill. His goal is that if ever he died, at least his opponent was pushed far enough so that the other guys moving into the site could actually bring the time into their favor should they be able to take the site back. And they did a great job from a curveball and to get those final kills and to get the round here for the Immortals. And one more thing to say here about when I was talking about Dicey, right? Cloud9, look at the amount of rounds that they've won here, and we've forced Immortals into low buys or into pistols. And the amount of times that they're able to get an operator, so I think that was 3 times. So the first time Dicey had an operator, he tried to push aggressively, and they had no information of how Cloud9 plays the B side. So he was playing in the dark, died from that. The second round, he missed a shot, and then the third round, well, he dies again. And then now they have no money to really work with operators for the rest of the half, or at least for now. Well, again, now they have it here from winning that previous round, unfortunately. So now they finally get here some information towards the A side, Simo. Let's see what happens.
Oh, wow, what a wall. Dicey actually, that works well for him. And Tenz is just trying to get up onto it, and unfortunately it doesn't work out. Res comes through. Dicey, unfortunately, has to try to get the angle there. The scope is not good enough, but it is! As Dicey, you talk about the man, and he delivers. 2 frags for him. And now, last round before we swap over to the second half, Cloud9, they will have a full buy. Can they make this 8-4, or will Immortals keep us within 2?
You see, Simo, sometimes the caster curse could work the opposite way too. You could talk about a guy about his performance, and then he just starts stepping up as well. So I gotta continue to encourage Dicey so that he can get these frags to make this game a little bit closer. So far, it's looking to be that case, but like you said, Simo, there's only 1 more round to go where we're gonna be able to switch sides. It's still gonna be a difficult task for Immortals to win here on this first map because they already conceded 7 rounds to Cloud9.
Revealing area.
Recon Bolt coming through, and now this is Genghsta's opportunity to try to tag some of those players out. But, you know, funny enough, there's actually going to be Mitch up above with the Bulldog, and he's not going to find anybody with the boost. It's Koler that is able to provide some of that firepower through the choke point to stop 2 of those members from pushing forward. Now, Asuna going to be pushing it through the middle, just down to 1 final player, and it's Immortals that salvage a very much needed, you know, end of the first half. Get some rounds that they need. Now we're back on the pistol into the second half. But Cloud9, we talked about this, they are now in the favorable side. Ascent, defender-sided, and Immortals, they really have to show us what they're all about when it comes to their executes and their attacking strategies. And for Cloud9, there's one thing I know about Shinobi. He keeps his team in check. You know, Tenz while he can be very aggressive, it is the defender side that he keeps it a little bit reined back, and he just waits for an opportunity to unleash the beast.
And let's think about the storyline for Immortals going to this matchup too, right? They just lost versus TSM 13-5, 13-4, and 13-4 on Ascent on that second map. So that means you're walking into this matchup, confidence a little bit shaken as you got spanked by TSM on the upper bracket. Now you're going to this one, play another team that's really good on this map. So now you're starting to lose a couple of rounds. You lost a pistol, you lost 3 rounds in a row, and you're like, man, when are we going to be able to come back? Finally, at least they salvaged 5 rounds on that defensive side. We could start seeing Dicey starting to pop off as well in the last few rounds. We know that Jcstani is able to turn it up. Now let's see if they could do it on the attacker side, as maybe they're finally warmed up or regained their confidence.
So far, that's going to be a couple of great kills. Cloud9, they're going to hold on with Mitch in the backside, and they're not even ready to peek him yet. The rest of the team, they got to make their way over. Can Mitch make it worth his while? Unfortunately, he cannot. Paranoia comes through. Asuna behind the box. Koler off to the side. He's going to tag one and start to try to come in from behind. But at what point will it be enough? There's just so much action happening on the site, and after the dust settles, it's Immortals that win a much-needed pistol. Vansilli, during the TSM best of 3, Immortals only won 1 pistol round over the course of 2 maps. And here we are, Immortals finally winning a pistol, winning a good one at that, and that'll catapult them potentially to 7-7 and keep things close against Cloud9.
Let's give it to Mitch, at least how he played that anchor inside that site. A lot of players, a lot of teams don't believe in a Sage in their compositions right now on Ascent, and Cloud9 are like, we don't care about the meta. We're going to continue to play our own style and get the rounds that we need. And the way that he played that pistol was actually really awesome. Putting a wall onto the right side so he could focus all of the fire towards the left, and when they're actually pushing through, he puts frost orbs on the ground, so he forces 1-to-1s, like individual battles, and wasted enough time for Cloud9 to rotate. But the key thing there was that Koler had that camera up and spotted 3 guys coming down the staircase and called that audible for his team, and Immortals played a perfect post plan. Now this time it's going to be an empty site towards the B side. Immortals going to walk in, doesn't even knock. It's unlocked for them. They plant the spike, and now we have the retake, or at least the exit attempt from Cloud9.
No more charges.
Yeah, they just tried to gamble towards the A side, and unfortunately it didn't work out. And so now it does feel like they might be in positions to at least get some of these exit frags. We do see Vice prepared with the shorty, but, you know, Immortals, they're going to go back the way that they came, the way that their no is comfortable. And so for the side of Cloud9, they're maybe looking for somebody to check this middle area here. And so far, Immortals, they're just probably going to go back to spawn, to be honest. So for Cloud9, maybe it's going to be a little bit of a late defuse. I don't know. Tenz now ready to peek in. Oh, wait. Dicey, he sees him, backs away. Now it's Asuna versus Relyks. The spray's not going to be good. And, you know, Cloud9, unfortunately, will not even really find a pick in that process. And Immortals will walk away. Oh, actually, Dicey, I think, ended up falling there.
Yeah, he died from
relatively unscathed. Yeah, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. A relatively unscathed for Immortals, and for Cloud9, the gamble didn't work out, and so now the gun round comes in. This is where I expect Cloud9 to really turn it up. It's the defender side, and for Immortals, their win condition is to find early picks. And so this engagement that's about to occur here on this B side, Asuna needs to win 100%. It'll open up the map, it'll give them space to play. Shinobi, he's already out of there, and Asuna just playing the pest role and trying to make them believe that it may be this B-side push, while the rest of Immortals are pushing up through the middle.
One thing that's good here is that the recon dart that was thrown into the B entrance did not spot Asuna, so he could actually stay around the corner, which means you're going to have to wait at least another half minute at this point for that recon dart to come back. So this gives a chance for him to still lurk around towards the entrance and do a quicker push inside the split to B. And it starts off super well as Jcstani gets the pick through the smoke onto Relyks. So if they do this right away, the curveball's already out, hot hands into the site. 2 guys are holding inside B though for Cloud9. Jcstani wallbang, takes down Shinobi, and now Mitch is stuck inside the site. Another wall to come up. He's playing close to it. There's a gap in it as well. And now looking up towards that lane. That's 1, and that's it. Dicey retaliates with the Guardian, and it's going to be Vice looking for the rotation, but on a 4 versus 2 and still alert towards mid side. He gets the first kill at least, but it's going to still be a tough round for these two to take it back.
And you be careful. That's going to be Jcstani. He peeks. Now just down to Tenz. He can really get the job done here if he goes buck wild, but he needs to know from behind. It's going to be one. The swing's not good, and Koler will send him down to the graveyard. And Immortals, you know, we talked about this being a little bit of a defender side. This is a very important gun round for them because this will catapult them to 9-7. And for Cloud9, they will have another opportunity in the round that follows with some guns. This is good. Immortals can definitely keep this within 2, maybe even take this to O-time if Cloud9 shape up. But maybe some teams are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable on this attacker side. But, I mean, I find that hard to believe considering how defensive heavy some teams just have a good grasp. Like TSM early on, they found 9 rounds. You know, Sentinels, they have such a good time on defense as well. So we'll see what ends up happening. But so far, all I got to say, a great start for Immortals on this second half.
Definitely, that's definitely for sure. And on top of that too, you have an eco for Cloud9. You have a chance to make it 9. Jcstani, 1 opening kill. Dicey with the Blade Storm. Shinobi retaliates back here, but as he's nearsighted, Relyks finally gets the frag. Yes, it's a successful pistol so far for Cloud9, but they only have 2 more players remaining. The last 3 pushing towards the front of the site for the Immortals, as we still have Relyks just holding towards the back default, 50 HP remaining. He still manages to get the headshot onto Koler before he gets dropped by Asuna. So a really decent save for Cloud9, leaving Mitch on his own. The door is closed, so he has to maybe go through the window. So that's going to be 1 audible Q after audible Q, unless he goes through the gardens at the rafters, where basically you already have Asuna pointed up there on the top of that catwalk. It should be an easy kill unless the crosshair is at the different spot.
We'll see what Mitch ends up doing. Here comes the swing. He's actually going to find 1. Oh my goodness. Almost finds the second. Asuna was down to 69. And wow, that was a very close. Yes, 60. Okay. A very close round there for Immortals. Brought it down to 1 final player, and that's expensive. Yes, Immortals win the round. Kudos to you. That was an expensive round to lose. Or sorry, to win. Expensive round to win.
Yeah, and when you're looking at it, though, from the perspective of the Immortals, right? Look at this scoreboard. So you have Jcstani that is an in-game leader and as a Brimstone, top fragging at 18-14. What can you say so far is good job for Cloud9 for containing Asuna on the defender side. And now containing him on the attacker side too, because I was going to say this might be the sign where it's going to be a little bit better as a Phoenix to get some information and even some kills as the entry fragger for the team. But now they still manage to control him first. If they're able to take down Jcstani from the way that he's cracked out so far in this matchup, it should be the round coming in for Cloud9. But it's going to be the spike carrier, Jcstani, holding back towards mid with the rest of his teammates to try to regain this control of the map.
Oh, Mitch, about to walk into so many Immortals members. They're going to see that tripwire go down as well. Jcstani going to lead that charge. Unfortunately, the op shot does not connect, but it's Shinobi. He's got the Odin. He's spraying, but he cannot spray and pray enough. Now, backside, it's Vice. He's going to be holding on to this B side as they try to push in. They're scrambling forward. He hears the footsteps. Relyks and Tenz now going to push forward. It's perfect. Oh my goodness, it's 2. They funnel in, and now all Vice needs to do is just buy time. Koler, last man alive, investigating the crime scene, but unfortunately it's Relyks that takes him down, and Cloud9 win a very important gun round on this second half. It's their first round, which can start to build up their economy. On the opposite side for Immortals, it's not looking so good. Asuna, the only one with credits likely to have a pretty good full buy. So we'll see what Immortals ends up cooking up this round. Might be a little bit of a broken buy, scattered weapons across the board, but they'll still make it work. So if Immortals lose this round, Cloud9 going to force them down to the eco. So we'll see what ends up happening. Asuna and company preparing for this setup towards the A site. Let's see what Cloud9 expect.
Yeah, and I want to see at the same time, too, if we had a bug on the scoreboard, because Jcstani did buy, but sometimes the scoreboard doesn't show the armor on top of that as well. But for the rest of them, for sure, it's going to be a buy moving through, and it's going to be a run it back to open it up as Asuna is moving forward. He spawns the first towards that garden. Tenz getting the off shot onto Dicey, and there you go. Jcstani is actually going with no armor and a Phantom inside the site. They've made it in. They're looking for a plant. They're closing that door at the same time. A counter on his Fury from Shinobi. That's going to tag the first, maybe get a kill. So close on that frag, but Mitch is still alive. Asuna to fall, and they are rotating for Team Cloud9. Genghsta and Jcstani, they say it's not over yet. They answer with 2 of their own. Now we have a recon dart that's going to spot Jcstani in the front of the generator. He's going to go head-to-head. Oh no, he turns around. Relyks gets the kill, but it's traded out by Koler. Low HP in the beginning of the round, low HP at the end of the round. A res to come out. They know that two are going to come towards this doorway, as it's going to be Mitch with that operator. They still have a neural theft too. They can get close, but they have great position right now. Shinobi gets the first kill, and as they run through that cyber cage, because of the neural theft being thrown, Genghsta gets spotted. A close round. Nice attempt for the Immortals, but it is going to be Cloud9 tying the game. And like you said, Simo, should be an eagle for the Immortals, and Cloud9 has a chance to regain the lead.
All Immortals needed to do there was buy time, and it was just difficult to do so. You know, on a map like Ascent, one of the main pivotal reasons why it's so defender-sided is the ability of the defense to just have an easier time retaking than the attack have time to get into post-plant positions. And for Cloud9, they were already there. Of course, there were a few rotating back, but it's just unfortunate that Immortals, you know, even in that scenario, I feel like Genghsta, he doesn't need to peek, but he does. I think he thought he had the support from the other player that was playing towards Hell. Just very, very unfortunate. So for Immortals, the best thing to do in certain instances like this is to stack together, and they're doing exactly that. Relyks going to spot all of them out. Paranoia comes through. He needs support, and it's the recon bolt that is going to be very difficult. The spray's good. It's going to be one. That's going to be Dicey with another. They find the trade, so far it's an even excursion. They will also upgrade on some weapons. Immortals now going to be looking to push up here towards this B side. Mitch holding with the op as they're trying to have safe passage across, and it's two ops here for Cloud9 that don't find their mark. And now Spike going down, 300 credits for free. Let's see how the rest of the round turns out.
Have salvage weapons at this point here. You have a heal coming up onto Tenz. And the thing that's difficult here at this point is that the two players that are alive out of the three for Cloud9 should have two ops here, because I do remember seeing two at the beginning of the round. So it's hard for them to retake, hard for them to execute on a retake, and even harder as two of them fall immediately. So last one to go, now spotted towards the spawn, off shot missed, and Dicey seals the deal to regain the lead for Immortals on a thrifty round of all rounds.
Wow. That is huge for Immortals, because now Cloud9 down to the eco. Immortals potentially give us 11-9, and then it's within one. Immortals just need to close out the series, and they could definitely do that. We've seen that while, you know, maybe a little rocky against TSM, a TSM who was hungry to be #1, and understandably so, Immortals also wants to be a part of that conversation. But against Cloud9, and to be honest, winning against Cloud9 here would start, we could start to have that type of conversation. Obviously, we would need more performance results. But so far, it's looking good. You know, I anticipated moving forward that Cloud9 would have a stronger grasp on this app. Immortals, they're just doing it well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing is that they're doing a great job themselves as Mitch. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Mitch gets the first kill onto Jcstani. Now it's calmed down. I was going to say what they're doing good for the Immortals at this point is not only to keep Jcstani as an entry fragger and still putting up numbers, but they were able to make Tenz kind of fall off on the defensive side. Because I did say before, he had 7 kills in 2 rounds, and I think just at the beginning of this round, he was at 16 kills, right? 16 and 16. So that means that he dropped off in a few more rounds where they're able to not give that much freedom for Tenz to get a couple of kills, and that's why we see such these close rounds, and this close scoreline in the end of the day.
Mitch putting up a wall here to dissuade any of the Immortals members from pushing up through the middle, and so as a result, I think they were interested in the idea of pushing up through the catwalk, but then B looks a lot better this time of year. And I thought Cloud9 were on an eco, but it does not look like that's going to be the case. I see some Phantoms here available. Yeah, in fact, actually, they're able to fly across the court, so this could be actually a good round. Yeah. The spray's good. Mitch going to find another. That's already 2 on the round, but can they still keep them at bay? No, they cannot. Door goes down. Shinobi going to find another. But it's Relyks in backside. I didn't even know he was there. There they come in, and that's the shot. That's good. Just down to Dicey. And it's unfortunate that he was looking in the wrong direction. Mitch just flanks in from behind. A flawless round from Cloud9. Put it back 10-10. Immortals, it's likely going to be another good buy for them here, but it's so back and forth that at some point the economy will break, and Vansilli, at some point, might be match point. So both teams need to be very careful in the risks that they take. And you can even see Immortals really thinking, what do we buy? There's a share for Jcstani. They're like constantly debating. It's not looking good right now for the attack.
Yeah, even for Dicey, they had an opportunity to buy 3 rifles if they want to, but they really want to put Dicey on an operator into the next round. So he's going to go with just the shield and pistol, while the rest of them, we have 2 rifles and a couple of shares for the attackers, and we're just trying to go for more of a communal group split towards this B side. But the thing is, it's changed a bit for the defensive side of Cloud9. We only have 1 player here that's hopping, but he gets picked off by Asuna, and they don't go in that corner, and that's why you don't run with your knife out. As a Counter-Strike player, Dicey gets caught with a knife in his hands, but at least it's traded off. We're trying to move inside the site with the run it back. Relyks is still inside the site. He does have a paranoia, ready to throw it. That should connect. He gets flashed at the same time. So he manages to stay alive, at least for the site for now. But Koler still lurking, getting 2 kills. Relyks trying to stay alive, and finally Genghsta gets the kill. And you said it here. Is the eco going to happen, though, for Cloud9 at this point? They have money. It's not over yet.
Yeah, they've got a little bit, but you know, one of the things that I was alluding to earlier on, yeah, it's it's gonna be the full buy. But like I said, while yes, they can buy, sure, yes, Vansilli, I agree with you. But the problem becomes is, look at that, 1 round loss. Both teams have lost a round back to back to back, and so what that means is that the economy is only bringing in 1,900 for one and 3,000 for the other, and at some point that has to break. And that might break at match point. You don't want to be in that position. And if Cloud9 win here, it might be Immortals that are put in that position. So far, Immortals holding steady. Smokes down in the middle, gaining control. A site will be what is going to be on the docket here, with what looks like Immortals preparing for a push. Several members going to be coming in through the catwalk. I think that's the Hunter's Fury that'll be there from... Wow, Asuna just pushes in. Doesn't need to run it back. Yes, Shinobi finds a frag, but it's the man advantage. Resurrection available, so now it's evened out. 4v4, door is down. Vansilli, this retake may decide who wins map number 1.
At least to get the res from that, right? So it's going to be even on this retake. And what a time here for Asuna to speak up and stand up to get those 2 entries. That clock still ticking down, waiting for the hot hands as his jiggle peeking. He's trying to waste the clock. They still have the jet that could jet across with Tenz here, but as it dissipates, 2 operators moving forward, 1 to fall. And Asuna gets the ace right now for the Immortals to put them at map point against Cloud9's map pick. And at this point now, they lost 2 rounds in a row for Cloud9, so actually it's 2,400 that they get Simo. It should still be okay from some sort of a broken buy, because they still have 4K on one of the players for Relyks. But man, oh man, what a round there for Asuna.
Yeah, it's just very unfortunate. They peaked 1 at a time, and then at that last frag, Mitch was in the air. What are you going to do there? A jump shot? Unless you were preparing for it or anticipating it, there's not much you can do. And so now, Cloud9, they're on a little bit of a broken buy. Immortals should be able to close this out, all things considered. And, you know, for Cloud9, they might just be able to make it a little tricky. Asuna going to start to push in. Unfortunately, nobody's there. Here he comes, closing the door. That's the clone that's gone, but that's going to be Tenz with the share shot. But here it comes. Tailwind will get him to safety, and Relyks will find another. What is happening here? But still, Immortals can defend this situation. They need to get into the post plan. Cloud9 company up above. Asuna is going to find one. Here's the curveball, ready for the second, but it's Relyks. He's going to answer back. He escapes. Here's the swing, and Asuna still survives, just somehow, some way for Relyks. He's looking to answer back, just down to 1 player. Asuna swings. That's the frag. Here's the wall. Here he peeks. On the other side, it's 2 players looking to try to take him out, but unfortunately, he's not close enough to get the heal. But the spike gets diffused, and unfortunately for Asuna, he will also be taken down, and Cloud9 keep their dream alive up against Immortals.
Asuna has climbed up the frag ladder, already top fragging for the team. And I was going to say, as you have Jcstani putting up big numbers, if Asuna is able to step up too, it's going to be a team to look out for, and he did just so in the last 2 rounds. Unfortunately, he did not get a clutch, but he was able to get 3 kills out of that, but that's not enough to break the economy of Cloud9 going into the last round of regulation. But they still have to watch out for Asuna into this round for Cloud9, because he's finally waking up in this matchup. Difficult one for them to take. We're looking to see if Cloud9 can bring this into overtime on their map pick. And so far, with the setup that they have and the money that they have, it is still doable.
Cloud9, Maybe anticipating a push towards A, but so far Immortals, they're relatively near the defender spawn, but as decisions are now starting to be called, smokes are down on Cat and mid to try to stop any of those flanks that might be coming in through the middle, but nobody's there for Cloud9. It might be Relyks who ends up there at some point. But for the side of Cloud9, it is Mitch and Shinobi, and we've seen this double anchor work for them so well, but not always. Not always. Mitch and Shinobi sometimes are the first to fall, or sometimes they're the first to find frags. And of course, the door also tells us they're playing a little bit more passive towards this mid side. And so far for Immortals, they're ready. They're ready for a push towards B.
Genghsta open it up, first tag, and then the kill from Jcstani onto Mitch, but Shinobi still inside the site. Into the shadows to Relyks to support his teammate towards the back. His teammate's already down to almost no HP. He gets picked off by Jcstani. They know that Relyks is close, and it's Asuna. Bullet to the face as he sticks the barrel of the gun in his mouth. 3-1, Tenz last man standing. A right click. 11 seconds left on the clock. They have to get something done here. And now they spot him towards the back of the site. Sorry, 2 versus 1. He makes it a 1 versus 1. And there's no time as he gets the kill. The 4th one with a spike down. Tenz clutches this on a 4K and bring this into overtime.
Tenz, I hope you had your Buckleys. I hope you had your vitamin C gummy bears. Whatever you need, Cloud9 will provide. And look at Tenz just holding down, playing the arches so well, and then peeking when he needed to. I think Koler was even reloading at that point. Maybe something. Maybe switching from the next something. He was in animation. Very unfortunate. And now we're in a situation where it is down to the OT. And you got to win by 2 here. And for Cloud9, they're back to the defender side, but they'll swap over to the attack. Oh, sorry, it's actually Cloud9 that are attacking. The colors are a little messed up here on the scoreboard, but that's okay. Cloud9 are attacking, and Immortals, they're going to be defending.
That's right. You got to love the overlay of the scoreboards where we still need a little bit of fixing for that, but can you ask for any better game in overtime now for this matchup? A best of 3 where unfortunately one of these 2 teams is going home. And it's going to be Dicey playing a little bit more passively with the operator towards that spawn side. And he decides to rotate back towards mid to spot, while everybody else from Cloud9 are currently walking towards an A side, where pretty much you only have Asuna playing towards that heaven. But the thing is, Asuna has started to step up. So can he do the same thing now on the defensive side, where he struggled a bit on that first half? We'll soon find out.
Yeah, Jcstani and Asuna playing towards this A side. Dicey's been pulled off, and he's got the op. You know, a heavy investment with light armor. While on the opposite side for Cloud9, they don't have an op to work with. Jcstani, he sees that there's a lot coming through. It's the Molotov that is pushed up there, and it'll actually deny some of those members that come through. But Jcstani, he'll find Shinobi. It's quickly taken care of. Mitch also opens the door wide, and he'll take care of the IGL. Now, very few members remain. Mitch now in a perfect position for this player that's going to try to push forward. It's Koler, and he's smoked off. He's going to try to break down this wall, and Mitch, all he needs to do is wait, sees him come through, but unfortunately he gets too eager, and Koler sends him packing. Now, the 3v3, Cloud9 in the post-plant scenario. Relyks doing his job. Now that's going to be Koler, tries to swing forward. They find the frags they need, and Cloud9 just need 1 to win this map.
That is so sick there from the way that we played. Yes, it was a little bit trigger happy for Mitch at that point. Stressful moment on this retake attempt from the Immortals. But as Koler gets the kill onto Mitch, somehow Shinobi was also able to squeak his way across and still have them not check a 50-50 corner to make it easier for Cloud9 to get that round. So Immortals still struggling at this point here on the defender side, but at the same time, you could say the same thing for Cloud9. This is why we are in overtime. The most rounds that they got here in this matchup for both of these teams have been in overtime to start. Now Shinobi still has that Odin as he's trying to spray through after tagging the first player moving across the entrance of B. But as they fall back now for the Immortals, they're looking to fall back at mid to start, but still looking to finish at the B side.
Even looking at how Tenz was playing in that last round that brought us to overtime, you could tell that these teams are anxious. They don't want to go home. This is an important tournament, an important Valorant major that help decide and help set the pace for teams to come, for tournaments to come, and for confidence to come forward for both these teams. The recon bolt's going to spot so many forward. Mitch just needs to get into a good position. That's the curveball that comes through. Mitch still alive, and he will lose the gun duel against Jcstani, and so will Tenz. They find so many opening picks. Shinobi, can he hold on to the back of the site? He's got the Odin, starts to spray, waiting for them to jump through. Unfortunately, cannot handle it, and now it's Vice. He'll be taken down, and we're back to even footing. Cloud9 back on the attack.
This is a game, ladies and gentlemen. They are not looking to make this a 3-map series. One of these teams want to seal the deal in this one, ride the momentum, and close it on the second one with dominant factor. But it's not over yet. We are moving into the second overtime between the Immortals and Cloud9. 2 rounds ago, I did say that I thought it was Shinobi that squeaked across towards that plant side, but it was actually Relyks at that point. But now we're back in a reset moment. All the rounds previously did not count, did not matter. It comes down to whoever wins by 2 to bring this map under their belt in this best out of 3. In the lower quarters at this point, Mitch looking to fall back here as he baited the tag, but he still gets tagged from a recon owl. He would baited the orb rather and got tagged there by the recon arrow. He's forced to fall back. And as they clear out the corner, they know that now the B side is kind of clear, so they don't really have to rotate yet for the A side of the Immortals.
Shock Dart is going to be used to clear some of that utility in towards the middle, and Koler with a perfect camera can play a little bit more passively if he wants. The camera will likely provide some vision, but it's already gone. Koler will use his own eyes, his own 2 eyes, to look towards this middle part here. And for Cloud9, it's a little bit more spread out. They're trying to gather information, but look at Asuna. Held up in wine, and may decide he wants to leave shortly. Cloud9, they are going to be playing towards the catwalk instead. Vice actually tags Asuna, and now going to try to back up into wine. Relyks finds the opening pick onto Koler after working his way up through the middle. And now Mitch going to put up a wall. This is a fake. It was A all along. Vice just playing with Asuna, and now as he goes back towards the site. But look at Cloud9. Look at this move. They're going through the garden, and they're going to find Jcstani from a distance. The headshot. This was played masterfully from Cloud9. And now they decide all they need to do is go towards B. But Dicey's there. Shot's going to be good. Time is ticking, and Spike needs to go down now. 10 seconds remain. Tenz getting involved. Here he comes. Shinobi sprays him down, and they will get control of the site. Spike going down, and now just down to Asuna. He's going to rotate all the way back from spawn. A beautiful play from Cloud9.
And definitely, and I loved how they played that, because at that point, yes, they got a kill, a trade that happened from the spawn side, and then a kill into the market from the Immortals onto Cloud9. But the thing is, because they pushed towards that market side, or should I say the garden, and they got that first kill, Asuna had to stay stuck inside the A side in case a split was still happening from the front A side. They never got that information towards the whole round. So that means he had a weaker hold towards his B side. You heard a jet being dashed through from Tenz inside the B that forced pretty much Dicey out of position. Forced to move forward inside the staircase because he's so focused on trying to get a kill into the market side push that he gets killed himself. And now there's only 1 player left with 3 guys pretty much taking over the site for Cloud9. Very impossible there for Asuna to come back on a retake at that point. But look at the scoreboard, man. Everybody's stepping up to play for both of these players. Either it's the top fraggers, the superstars, or the anchor and support players. They are parting numbers. This is an amazing matchup to start Cloud9 and Immortals in this best of 3.
Okay, so early on in this round, they were looking to push towards the fish market, but the Shock Dart actually gets rid of so much utility, and now Cloud9 they can play a little bit forward with having no repercussions. I mean, we know that, but Cloud9, if they decide to push in, which they won't, they'll be starting to back away. The gamble for them is to stack towards this A side. A lot of utility use, but they're ready. Relyks trying to spray forward. It's Tenz. He trades with Asuna, but Vice, he holds on. The site has been opened up, but Asuna needs to pick up the spike. He needs to jet over. The door's closed, but it's the man advantage now for Cloud9, and they need to play this well. Asuna gonna have the curveball ready, curves it up, gonna try to get up into heaven, recon bolt as well, but it's Mitch and Shinobi working their way through the tree room. Asuna gets the wall up, a perfect wall as well to deny some of that vision forward. Slow orb back of sight. Relyks now gonna push in. Genghsta finds one with the spray. It's Shinobi that tags him down. The trade is good. Relyks finds him, and the defuse comes through. Cloud9 win map number 1.
That was so close. I love the gamble there that came in from Asuna, but the